Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, YouTubers of all ages, thank you for joining me today. As always, my name is General Confusion, and this is Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri. Yep, this is episode 2 of our playthrough as the Gaians. We're back here on mission year 2111 with our favorite friend, Lady Deirdre. So, in the last episode, we got our start. We have 2 bases now, each with 1 population unit, and unfortunately we've discovered that we seem to be on a small island. I'm just going to confirm that real quick, because this looks like this might be a peninsula that might lead us somewhere useful? Question mark? Okay. We have 1 former out currently. We'll have another next turn, and then a third in 3 turns, which is great. I have a forest over here at Gaia's Landing, so we are producing some minerals. I kind of want to try building farms to get nutrients, but they're actually not going to be terribly useful, so I'm just going to build out the forest here. Okay, so here's our other former. The first thing we're going to do is move over here and remove fungus. But before that, we're going to run into a pod and unleash an earthquake. So now we have a mountain. Maximum elevation, 2666 meters. The number of the beast, plus 2,000. So, what this does is, the main important thing about this at the moment is that it affects rainfall patterns. So if we move our cursor over here, this square has become rainy. That's because the prevailing winds on planet are always assumed to blow left to right, west to east, and so this mountain is impeding the rainfall patterns, and it's getting all the rain dumped on this square, on this side of the mountain. That's actually really good for us, because now it means we can build a farm on that square and a solar collector, and we'll get lots of nutrients and energy from it. So I'm just going to move straight over there. Over here, okay, so it looks like we might not be on a tiny island after all. Thank goodness. I was worried. We have 2 more pods. I'm going to grab one.
Turn complete.
We found a monolith, and it enhanced our unit to green status. Fantastic. Everything's going
Production
wonderfully.
complete.
We've built more formers. I'm going to stop building formers now. I'm going to switch over to the weather paradigm. It is still listed at 67 turns, but we're gonna hope and pray that we can get it before anybody else does. Gonna move him. Here we're going to build a farm.
Complete.
You are going to go build a mine on those minerals. Here we have 2 forests. In 6 turns we'll grow again, and so we'll be able to work both forests. At that point our nutrients will be capped out, but we'll be getting 5 minerals a turn, which will be really valuable. In the meantime, you can start building roads. I want to connect up our bases.
We hold life to be sacred, but we also know the foundation of life consists of a stream of codes, not so different from the successive frames of a watchlet. Why then cannot we cut one code short here and start another there? Is life so fragile that it can withstand no tempering? Does the sacred brook no improvement? Chairman Shenji Yang, Dynamics of Mind.
Okay, so here we get our first look into the mind of Chairman Yang. He's the leader of the Hive faction, and here he's talking about humanity. And specifically, he's talking about what he perceives to be a, what should I call it, a superstition. Chairman Yang is very much against superstitions in general, and specifically against superstitions that stop him from doing whatever he wants with people. So, but I do him a disservice. Chairman Yang is presented in the game as having an actual philosophy, and one that rejects this whole idea of sacredness. The only thing that is sacred to Yang is the needs of the group, the communal needs. And so, biogenetics are to him perfectly reasonable. The idea of manipulating the human genome, or the genome of anything, is no problem. And it's no problem to us either, clearly, because this is a super useful technology that we really want. It gives us recycling tanks, which gives us free resources at any base we build it, and it gives us access to the Human Genome Project, which gives us an extra talent at every base. Talents are useful for preventing drone riots. I don't think I've fully explained the system before. You have talents, workers, and drones. Most of your people in a base will be workers. Once you hit a certain number of people, or your entire empire grows to a certain size, you'll start getting drones. Drones are like rebels in other civilization games. They don't work, they don't do anything productive, and if you have more drones, if you ever have more drones than you have talents, then your base goes into a drone riot, and you can't do anything with it until you resolve the drone riot. Nerve stapling is one way to do that, but remember, we're the Gaians. We can't nerve staple because we have a police penalty. So that could be useful. It's not as useful as the weather paradigm, so we are still going for the weather paradigm first. But recycling tanks. Recycling tanks are super useful, and we're actually going to change over to build them instead. And see if we can hurry them, because the extra mineral from the recycling tanks will make building the weather paradigm faster. And we're going to build a mine there. We're going to pick up that pod. Okay, we got some credits and we found nutrients. So now we have this farm. You can see that little black border around the 2? That means it's up against the limit. It can't produce any more of that resource. I'm going to build a solar collector. I believe the solar collector will also run up against the limit. Over here, I'm just going to build roads because I want to link up the bases. We're going to grab this other pod, found another monolith. Good, that's cool.
It is every citizen's final duty to go into the tank.
It is every citizen's final duty to go into the tanks and become one with all the people. That's another Yang quote. And it tells you basically what the recycling tanks are for. They're for recycling everything and everyone. It's an alien world. Can't afford to waste that protein. So, we've built the first base facility on planet. We're ahead of everybody else in that way, at least. So you can see we've now gone 3-2-3 from our base square. And the weather paradigm is down to 50 turns.
Project initiated.
So we're going to keep building roads. Oh, no, we already got a road there. We're going to keep exploring.
Complete.
Build another road there. So yeah, this would be producing 3 nutrients, 1 mineral, and 3 energy, but since it's up against the limits, it's only producing 2 nutrients and energy, so we'll need to do some research before we can get those lifted. Similarly, this should be producing 4 minerals, or possibly 5. I think only 4, but it can only produce 3. Huh, I thought the mineral bonus evaded those limits entirely. Maybe it just adds 1? That doesn't make any sense. I know nutrient bonus is evaded entirely. Well, whatever. Now, we're the Gaians, so often we wouldn't do this, but I'm going to clear off some of this fungus because I just don't want it around. As you can see, our forest expands by itself, which is one reason forest is really handy to have. So we're going to keep exploring. We're going to clear some fungus. We're going to keep building the road. We've got a mine there. We're going to build a farm too, just to make it a little more productive. So we've got our recycling tanks here. We're up to 6 minerals at this base. So actually, this base is probably the better one to build the weather paradigm because it's only going to take 34 turns. So weather paradigm,
initiated.
Gaia's Landing is going to change to build another colony pod. Because remember, more small bases is better than few large bases. Especially when our bases are having trouble growing. Finish our road there. Our next base, the next best place to put a base. I'm a poet and didn't know it. The next best place is going to be over here. It'll have access to 2 monoliths. It'll be this square. Then it'll have both monoliths and it'll have the nutrient resource. The other alternative, we could put one base over here to use the nutrient resource, and then like a base over here and one down here, so we have one base taking advantage of each resource. That could also be pretty efficient. Down here you can see faction dominance. The game thinks that we're not doing very well. I think it's a lying liar that lies. I think we're doing fantastic, but whatever. The university is apparently skyrocketing into the lead. That's very common because the university gets big research bonuses, and so they get the early game technology very quickly, but they should stagnate after a while.
Terraform complete.
Once a man has changed the relationship between himself and his environment, he cannot return to the blissful ignorance he left. Motion of necessity involves a change in perspective. Commissioner Pravin Lal, A Social History of Planet.
Okay, so we've got Doctoral Mobility now. This is one of the very first important exploration and military technologies because it allows you to build speeders, which are twice as fast as infantry, and it lets you get the command center, which gives a 2-point morale bonus, a 2-level, morale bonus to any unit built at a base with a command center. So our very green units would instead start out as disciplined if we built them from a base with a command center. If we go to war, that will be very important. It also unlocks Doctrine Flexibility, which is ocean travel, and Doctrine Loyalty, which is the police state social engineering choice. So yeah, we're going to go there, going to design the scout rover. So we are on an island. It's a slightly larger island than I was afraid of. Gaia's Landing. Gaia's Landing is doing okay. The Flowers Preach, also doing okay. Actually doing better nutrient-wise. We're going to pay all our money to hurry the weather paradigm by 2 turns. And this former is going to go over here and continue the road expansion. That former, so we've got a farm and a mine there, so it's producing. We've got another mineral bonus over in the water. And this scout patrol actually is going to go back to Gaia's Landing just to guard it. This former is going to go pop that pod. And this colony pod is going to go... I guess I'm going to put him right here. I kind of want the bases close together so we can make efficient use of all our resources. And this will give him access to the river, which gives bonuses, and to the monolith. That's actually a rainy square, so that would be nice for nutrient purposes. But I want to get the monolith, so I have to put him within a couple squares of the monolith. So I have to put it here.
Terraform complete.
Oh, we got an alien artifact.
Terraform complete.
This is a rocky square, which means it's only really good for producing minerals. I don't really want it, because you can't build farms on rocky squares. So I'm going to terraform level to remove the rockiness. Got a road there. Okay. You can go and you hold. And this alien artifact is going over here to speed up the weather paradigm. We're going to build a road through there. We're going to build a road there. We're going to build a base there. Song of Planet. Song of Planet's going to get its free scout patrol. Then recycling tanks. Formers.
Turn complete. Production complete.
Yep, use it to advance our secret project. See, this gives us 58 minerals.
Terraform complete.
So we're down to 15 turns. So we're on mission year 2135 already. These early turns go by very quickly.
Production complete.
So end turn, we've got another colony pod. You are going to move down here to build a road. You are going to build a road over this way. We're going to grab that mineral bonus, actually, so we're going to put a base right over there.
Terraform complete.
And the first thing you're going to do is build a farm. So you build Greenhouse Gate. Get your free scout patrol, your recycling tank. Come on, recycling tanks and formers. So you can see in the early game, it's all about building bases and expanding as quickly as possible. I intend to, you see the red lines that tell me what squares are under the control of my bases. I want every square to pretty much be filled up by those. I missed one right here. That was my bad. That was a mistake in my base placement. I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have let that happen. But I did. Here we are. Nothing I can do about it now. We are going to change this colony pod to, a scout rover. We'll prototype a scout rover. That'll be nice. And you are going to go over here and plant some forest.
Some vices miss what is right because they are deficient. Others because they are excessive in feelings or in actions, while virtue finds and chooses the mean. Aristotle, Nicomachean Ethics, Data Links.
Okay, so this is another one of the very important early game Discover technologies, ethical calculus. It gives us the democratic social engineering choice, which is good, especially late game. It gives us the children's creche, which gives the base that has it a growth bonus and a morale bonus to defenders. And it opens up some other interesting technologies. But here's the cool thing about ethical calculus. This is where the game starts getting really sci-fi, because think of what ethical calculus is. This is a set of mathematical principles used to determine what is morally correct. Just think about that for a second. That's weird. And, I mean, we don't even think that's possible. But so, even in this hard-scrabble, early colonization environment, where everyone is, fighting to live in their hab domes, they can't even go outside on the planet because the atmosphere is just death. Even in these harsh, unrelenting circumstances, philosophers and scientists have somehow managed to develop a code, an actual objective code of behavior. And here's the really interesting thing. Ethical calculus, every faction can discover this, and every faction will, usually. So the ethical calculus apparently does not rule out any of the ideologies that are portrayed here. It doesn't rule out Morgan's capitalistic, greed-focused lifestyle. It doesn't rule out Yang's human hive. It doesn't rule out the Gaians or the Spartan survivalism or Miriam's fanaticism. None of that. That's all acceptable according to the ethical calculus, which makes you wonder, what exactly is it? So we're going to do social engineering. So we could go democratic right now. That would give us more efficiency, more growth, but less support. If we do it, we have to pay some credits. You always have to pay credits when you change your social engineering. It gives us a paradigm economy, which would mean that we can play with these bars with no efficiency penalty, and we would lose much less energy to inefficiency once our empire grows bigger. However, it gives us -2 support, which means we only get 1 free unit per base and we don't get any free minerals. That's very bad. It would give us a 20% growth rate, which is great, but we can't afford the support penalty right now because those free minerals are really helping drive our expansion. So we're not going to switch to democratic just yet.
Complete.
Here on this river, we're going to build a forest. Here, we're going to tell this guy to hold, because we don't have a whole lot more land expansion we need to do. Over here, we're going to build a... actually, I think also a forest. So we've got a forest coming up there. We're going to go through here and continue the road network.
Complete.
So this forest gives us 2 energy because it's on a river. We are going to... what else? We'll go over here, because we need another... once you have your recycling tanks, actually replace that with a colony pod. You've got a forest over there. Oh, dang it. I forgot. I'm sorry. It's late at night. I'm a little tired. I thought that would give me the extra nutrient for being on a rainy square, but it didn't. So, that's okay. I'm just going to build a mine. Okay, here's our first vehicle prototype. So we're well behind on vehicle prototypes. We'll build a mine. Build a road.
Terraform complete.
And here we have our first scout rover. The children's creche. See, +2 on growth and +2 on efficiency, and all units defending it receive a morale modifier, and it reduces the base's vulnerability to mind control. That's all great. I think I'm going to build that just for the growth bonus, actually. This scout rover, meanwhile, has... well, I can scout down here. Maybe there's something over there.
Project complete.
I hope this movie shows up.
I shall not confront planet as an enemy, but shall accept its mysteries as gifts to be cherished. Nor shall I crudely seek to peel the layers away like the skin from an onion. Instead, I shall gather them together as the tree gathers the breeze. The wind shall blow and I shall bend. The sky shall open and I shall drink my fill. Gaian Acolyte's Prayer.
Okay, so we can now do advanced terraforming, which is really interesting, and it increases our terraforming speed by 50%, so we are going to terraform the crap out of everything. Interesting thing about that, this is listed as a Gaian Acolyte's Prayer. So, the Gaians, we have apparently founded a religion, and we have founded a religion based around environmentalism and planet itself. Now, there's no real indication of deism, per se, in this religion, but this is explicitly listed as a prayer. So, it's interesting to think about, what kind of society are we creating here, we the radical environmentalists? And we've completed planet's first secret project. Okay, I think that's going to be enough for tonight. We've founded a couple new bases, we've expanded our population significantly, we've built our first secret project, we're doing pretty well. In terms of military power, we're probably well behind some of the people who have actually been, building up a military, which we have not been doing whatsoever. But that should be okay because we are isolated. Now, I am hoping that we'll get sailing technology very, very soon, and we'll be able to go out and explore and actually meet new people and get some protection for when somebody comes for us. But thank you so much for watching. If you liked this content, feel free to subscribe for more. More will be coming on the regular. Leave a comment if you have anything you want to say. I love receiving comments. And I will see you next time.